Boo. Right, enough of that. Happy Halloween. Right, probably my favourite day of the year. And as it is, I thought I'd better do a video. But not any old video, because as well as my favourite day of the year, or probably my favourite day of the year, it is also the 5th anniversary since... Let me get my eyes on. It's also 5 years since we lost the first Bond. Since Connery been gone. So what I thought I would do, it's not the most Halloween of Bonds, but I thought it was about time I talked about Goldfinger. So here we go. I'm going to talk about Goldfinger. Now, first things first, the beginning, one of the best Bond openings. I mean, this is my... What did I put this at? Sorry, I'm going off on one, but what did I put this at? Number 3 in my Connery Bonds. But the opening is one of the best. Matter of fact, it probably started them. It started the little mini... It started the mission that had nothing to do with the following mission. Anyway, so, you know it. He turns up with a duck on his head, rips the duck off, goes in, plants the bombs, strips out of his wetsuit, and underneath the wetsuit, all-time classic Bond, pulls the wetsuit off, and he's got what is probably one of Connery's best ever looks. The white tux. It's absolutely classic. Then he... trying to think. Oh, then he fights with the bloke in the changing room. He goes to see his girlfriend, or he goes to see the dancer. He knows she set him up, so he fights with this bloke. Throws the bloke into the bath. Throws the heater on him. Throws the heater in the bath with him and goes, one of Connery's classics. Shocking. And she's in the corner there crying, and he goes, as he shuts the door, positively shocking. And then you cut into Shirley Bassey. Dun, 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 dun. Goldfinger. Yeah, you know it. Anyway, so go to Miami. He meets Felix in Miami. He catches Goldfinger cheating at cards. So he goes up and he meets Goldfinger's mistress, plaything. Mistress, I suppose you could call her. Anyway. Connery's second best, I would say, next to Dr. No, because you're not going to beat that for Bond, James Bond. But Connery's second best Bond, James Bond. She goes, who are you? And he just throws it away. He's not even interested. He just goes, Bond. you know. So there's that. Then all-time classic Bond scene where he wakes up, he gets knocked out, he wakes up, and she's there on the bed. Classic Bond image. She's there on the bed, covered in gold paint. So he goes, so that's that. And he goes back to MI6. and says to him, I told you to observe Mr. Goldfinger, not bar his girlfriend. So there's that. Then he gets his mission. Then the next day, another all-time classic. That's the thing about Goldfinger. It is filled with one scene after another that are classics. Then, nope, I've skipped. Sorry, I skipped. The next day, he goes to see Q, and he gets what's probably the most famous car in the series. Now this is a Lego one I made years ago. Well, actually, about 5 years ago. I bought it off my mate, and it was sat in the box, and I was off from work sick at the time, and I thought, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to build that. So I did. Now, I'm not really the best with Lego, but it came out pretty good. Like I said, it's one of my possessions. It's just one of the things I hold very. It's not something I never get rid of. So there's that. Yeah, perhaps the most famous car in the series. So there's that. Then he goes golfing with Goldfinger. Like I said, that's a classic. All-time classic. He catches Goldfinger cheating again, but he outsmarts him. Then, let me think. I'm just trying to go through this. And he follows Goldfinger. Then there's a bit with Jill's sister, Tilly. Then he follows Goldfinger. Oh no, then he's spying on Goldfinger. Then they're in the woods, there's a car chase. They're in the woods. Tilly gets killed by Odd Job. Oh, I've skipped it again. Sorry. Back to the golf a minute. You see Odd Jobs. And this is close enough. It ain't brilliant, but it's pretty close. You see Odd Jobs at where he goes. Goldfinger goes, Odd Job. Odd Job goes. Another classic. Takes the head off the statue. So, right, back to Tilly. Right. So he throws his hat at Tilly. Tilly gets killed. Bond gets captured. One of the most classic lines in Bond ever. Do you expect me to talk? No, Mr. Bond. I expect you to die. Anyway, so they're so Goldfinger keeps Bond alive. The next thing, you cut to the jet, and you see this film's Bond girl. All-time classic name. Pussy galore. There she is. Pussy galore. And then, like I said, at Connery's birthday, then the rest of the film after that, Bond's a prisoner, really. There's bits and pieces that happen. You've got the barn with, it wouldn't go down well now, but you've got the barn scene with Pussy. You've got Goldfinger explaining his plan. Then I'm cutting over this a bit, but it's that well known. Most of you know it all anyway. But I'm skipping over this a lot. But then you get to Fort Knox. Bond fights Oddjob. Oddjob throws his hat at Bond, but misses him. Cuts the wires down. Then Bond throws the hat back at Oddjob. Oddjob laughs, goes to get the hat, and then Bond electrocutes him. And then, so they stop Goldfinger's plan. And Bond's on the jet, and Goldfinger's on the jet as well. Bond and Goldfinger fight. Goldfinger gets sucked out the window, and that's pretty much the end of the film. It's that well known, it's a hard one to talk about. But he's a good one. He is a good one. But, But anyway, like I said, it probably not the... I talked about it as a 5-year tribute to Connery. Which I still got, talking to Connery, I still got Man Who Would Be King going on, but it's coming off pretty soon because I can't be dealing with it anymore. Anyway, so that's it. So, but it's not the most Halloween of Bond films. Actually, it's got nothing to do with it at all. But like I said, it was my tribute to Connery. I thought I'd get probably what is probably his most famous Bond out the way. But, having said that, if you did want a Halloween Bond film, I would say the most Halloween is probably Live and Let Die. I've done Live and Let Die on the channel. I'm not going to talk about Live and Let Die because it's Connery's Day, but I would say Live and Let Die is the most Halloween. And the beginning of Spectre, which I'm not really going to talk about now, but it's probably the only time I think well, it is the only time you see Bond dressed for Halloween anyway. Well, it's not Halloween, it's Day of the Dead, but you see Bond dressed in the beginning. We'll call it the Halloween part. It's not, but we'll call it the Halloween bit. The beginning is brilliant. And there's some really good stuff in Spectre. But it's not the greatest. But anyway, my opinions... You'll know my opinions about Daniel Craig when I get to him. It's going to take a while. But... because my opinions changed. Anyway, I think that's about it. other than to just say, again, Happy Halloween, and it's my, what you might call my Halloween special, I suppose. Although it's all to do with Connery. But yeah, I think that's about it. I don't think of nothing more. Well, I suppose I could show you my outfit, but I might do that in another video. Right. Anyway, that's it for now.